Hello, my name is Danielle Dean. Welcome to my Interpersonal Communication Project for Liberty University's Human Services Counseling Department, Class 508. I will identify an overarching goal in my life, explore enlarging my conversation, and how it personally impacts my interpersonal platform. I will define behavioral blends and how they influence my conversation. Understanding barriers and potential hazards in my personal arena, my interpersonal arena, will enable me to deal with both internal and external noise pollution. I will close by developing an action plan to implement my interpersonal goals. Stewart defines communication by saying it is best viewed as the continuous, complex, collaborative process of verbal and nonverbal meaning making. Inhaling and exhaling are metaphors used to describe the concepts of receptive and expressive listening. Inhaling can be explained as listening, taking in nonverbal cues. Exhaling can be defined as talking and expressing oneself, what you give out. I am learning to communicate and connect better in my relationships by understanding my strengths and weaknesses, or as Carbonell refers to, uniquenesses. My overarching goal is to remember to put people before tasks, taking time to be an empathetic listener, not always offering advice, but being fully engaged in the conversation, and listening by inhaling and exhaling. I want to communicate from a healthy heart, head, and stomach, encouraging the talker to continue communication, emphasizing active listening on my part, and limiting my desire to interject my opinions and thoughts. By enlarging the conversation, I will learn to focus on others' needs, intentionally listening, with the purpose of providing a safe communication environment, clarifying any communication, understanding what's being communicated. I will also politely share my thoughts and feelings. One way for me to achieve my overarching goal is to enlarge my conversation. This refers to developing the skills which enhance the quality and breadth of my communication. My background is I am the youngest of 3, having 2 older brothers, the mother of 7 and the grandmother of 3. I have my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I love the outdoors, sports, and almost anything competitive. I've been a teacher, an outreach counselor, and a business owner. I teach rape and abduction defense, and currently I'm working on my master's in counseling. My background, along with my behavioral blend, plays an integral part in who I am today. According to Carbonell, behavioral blends are a combination of 4 distinct types of personality traits: D, I, S, C. D is the active, task-oriented individual. Words to describe this type of person are directing, driving, domineering, and determined. I is active, people-oriented individuals, inspiring, influencing, impressing, and interactive. S are your passive, people-oriented individuals, steady, stable, and shy, submissive. And lastly, the C, passive, task-oriented individuals, cautious, competent, calculating, and compliant. Behavioral blends help us to understand who we are and how we react to others. After taking the uniquely used self-assessment profile, I learned my behavioral type. What is expected of me is a D, meaning I believe people want me to take charge and accomplish tasks. I am more confident than others, but this fearless forward approach can cause many problems. People usually like me or dislike me. There's not much gray area in between. My behavioral blend, the this is me, is a DC, meaning I am task-oriented, being both active and passive. I am willing to follow leaders that I feel are competent. I enjoy challenging others and motivating them to reach their full potential. With these strengths comes weaknesses or uniquenesses. I need to guard against becoming too intense and walking all over those I'm working with. I need to remember people come before the task at hand. I am competitive, competent, and win easily. I need to learn to lose gracefully and allow others to win to boost their confidence and empower them to success. I need to focus on intentionally listening, being an active listener, fully engaged, and not worrying about the next event. Barriers that can affect good communication. According to Burley Allen, a listening barrier exists when someone hears what they want to hear, not what is really being communicated. This can be largely due to what is referred to as flat brain syndrome, leading to a degenerative spiral which can gain or lose momentum according to the participant's responses. Each participant's action contributes to the synergy of the spiral. If you talk or retreat, engage or ignore, you will either accelerate the spiral in an upward positive generative direction or in a downward degenerative one. An example of flat brain syndrome is when we do not acknowledge, accept, or direct our feelings. Our stomachs can overflow into the heart, pressing on it, hardening it. The upward expansion of the stomach and the hardening of the heart presses on our brains, creating flat brain syndrome, where our ears, our hearing, and our eyes, the ability to see others' points of view, are greatly limited. When we acknowledge, accept, and direct our feelings, we can achieve active, healthy communication. To counter flat brain syndrome, we must acknowledge that our feelings are very real and powerful. Then direct them. Don't defend ourselves. Listen respectfully to others. This helps build confidence in the speaker and helps them problem solve. Another barrier is noise pollution. Burley Allen suggests that what we perceive about a person or situation can influence our reception of that information being communicated, affecting how attentive we are to the conversation. Past experiences, both good and bad, can greatly influence our listening. Biased listening or labeling the information as boring, confusing, or possibly not our belief system limits our listening ability. Emotions running high, negatively or positively, impact and interfere with our ability to listen. Suppose a person brings up a topic that we've had a negative experience with. This can shut down our listening capacity altogether. We will begin to formulate a rebuttal, no longer paying attention to what the speaker is communicating. All this can be termed as noise pollution, but we can effectively control it. The action plan that I've begun to implement is to focus on the individual I'm communicating with, actively engaging in the listening, focusing my attention on them and their needs instead of my own, to use Peterson's talker-listener cards to remind myself of my overarching goal.